Hey everybody, Steve here at Hills of Eternity Memorial Park in Colma, California. You may remember I was here about 3 years ago or so visiting the final resting place, the gravesite of Wyatt Earp. Well, when I was here, I didn't know that one of the victims of the Hindenburg disaster, the German passenger Zeppelin that crashed in Lakehurst, New Jersey back in 1937, that one of the victims was laid to rest right here in the Portals of Eternity Mausoleum. It's the mausoleum that you see as you enter through the front gates on the right-hand side. Mortiz Feibusch was one of those unfortunate passengers who perished when the Zeppelin crashed and burned on that awful day in history that was captured in one of the most famous photos ever taken. The accident happened on May 6, 1937, and Feibusch was 57 years old at the time. He was a businessman and an exporter, and I'm just guessing that he was on a business trip at the time. He was born in Rogozno, Poland, died in Lakehurst, New Jersey, and is buried here in Colma, California. I was curious to know a little bit more about him, so in my searching online, I came across this website called Faces of the Hindenburg, and they have an entire section devoted to his life story. I highly recommend visiting this website if you're interested in learning more about this man who by fate and accident became a part of an important historic event. His Find a Grave memorial page does have good directions and a photo, so hopefully I'll be able to find his crypt today. For those of you who may not be familiar with the 1937 Hindenburg disaster, the Hindenburg was a German passenger airship, or Zeppelin, which was called the Hindenburg. It had previously crossed the Atlantic Ocean from Germany to the US multiple times, but on this fateful and shocking day, it caught fire and was destroyed within minutes in the very last minutes of its journey while it was trying to land or dock at the airstrip in Lakehurst, New Jersey. The airship was designed to be filled with helium gas, but because of US export restrictions on helium, it was filled with hydrogen gas instead, which is extremely flammable. An investigation determined that the accident was caused by a gas leak on the surface of the airship, which was ignited by electricity in the atmosphere. 97 people were on board the luxury liner, and there were 35 fatalities. 13 passengers, 22 crewmen, and 1 fatality on the ground. Sadly, most of the survivors were also severely burned. As you can see, Moritz is laid to rest here with his wife, Mignon, who died 2 years before he did. She was only 50 years old when she died, and I wasn't able to find a cause of death listed anywhere. Visiting final resting places like this always makes historic events so much more personal. The media happened to be there on the airfield that day, and the tragedy was caught on radio and newsreel coverage, which also made it more personal at the time, stunning the world and effectively ending the era of air transportation like this. The fact that this historic tragedy happened 85 years ago sort of makes it seem like ancient history, but the last surviving passenger just died a couple of years ago. Werner Donner was only 8 years old at the time of the accident, and after surviving, he went on to live to be 90 years old. He was born in Darmstadt, Germany, and died in Laconia, New Hampshire on November 8, 2019. And according to his Find a Grave memorial page, he was cremated and has no final resting place to visit. This week I want to give a shout out and a very big thank you to my newest Patreon supporter, Mario Linares. Thank you, Mario, for your very kind donation to my channel. It's very appreciated. And for those of you still watching, if you liked today's video, I hope you consider giving it a thumbs up. That helps my channel a lot too. Until our next trip to the cemetery together, thanks for sharing the memories, everyone.